Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through your sources, find the key insights, and hopefully help you feel truly well informed. Today we're tackling a term that sounds pretty intense: Meta-Temporal Coordination. Well, we've got some great material bits from Actionable Strategies for Organizational Growth, something called America's AI Action Plan, Meta-Temporal Coordination Explained, and also Meta-Temporal Coordination in AI Systems. Our mission to really impact what this means, see how it actually works in something huge like the US AI plan, and maybe even how it tops up in everyday organizational stuff. Okay, let's get into it. Meta-temporal coordination sounds like sci-fi, maybe, but the sources say it's very real, very important. What exactly is it?
Right. At its core, metatemporal coordination is fundamentally about intelligently maintaining shared context and continuity. Think about multiple agents. Could be AI, could be human teams working together over time, often on things that change, Iterative processes. The main goal is to stop critical stuff from getting lost. Information, decisions, objectives, things that can easily disappear as a system adapts or evolves. It ensures that context sticks around through cycles or tasks, so you get continuous improvement, but without losing track of the original why or how.
Okay, so it's more than just like scheduling things correctly. It's about the meaning behind the actions, the memory persisting, almost like a collective brain.
Exactly. A collective brain is a good way to think about it. It gets really interesting when you compare it to just, standard temporal coordination.
Yeah, the sources made that distinction. How is this meta level different?
Well, standard temporal coordination might just be about timing, getting robots to act together, for instance. Simple synchronization. Meta-temporal coordination. That operates at a meta level. It's deliberately managing not just the timing, but the whole system's continuity. Things like intent, what's been learned, the adaptive strategies, all managed across time. Think of maybe a really smart project manager on a huge multi-year project. They don't just set deadlines, they're constantly tweaking who does what based on skills, project progress. But crucially, they learn from everything that happened before, every success, every mistake, and that learning actively shapes and improves all the future steps. It's proactive adaptation.
Okay, that paints a clearer picture. And the sources mention specific ways this happens, mechanisms.
Yeah, they did. Pretty fascinating stuff. There's something called prompt context. This isn't just about following instructions. It's where the system itself refines its understanding of the instructions as it goes, based on results and changing goals. Like a chef constantly tweaking a recipe mid-course.
Okay. Adapting the understanding itself.
Right. Then there's the knowledge graph. Think of this as a shared central memory. It holds human insights, design patterns, code snippets, even vocabulary. It can be implemented as something called a concordium, basically an archive. But it doesn't just store data, it stores the reasons for decisions, the system's history.
So it remembers the why.
Precisely. That allows for genuinely informed adaptation later on, and often there's an orchestration rule, maybe handled by a central meta AI. Some sources mention names like Kikla Meta. This coordinator manages roles, task handoffs, keeping everything aligned with the goal and aware of the context.
That framework makes a lot more sense now, conceptually. But okay, let's bring it down to earth. How does this actually work in a massive real-world situation, like America's AI Action Plan that one source focused on? How does this abstract idea drive a national strategy?
Well, the AI Action Plan is actually a prime example, and it's vital because coordinating something that big over years with so many players, it's incredibly complex. The plan aims for AI dominance through three main pillars: innovation, infrastructure, and international diplomacy. And it heavily relies on these meta-temporal coordination principles to keep all the human and AI efforts aligned efficiently. Across different times, different phases, you could almost call it the plan's institutional memory and foresight engine.
An institutional memory and foresight engine. I like that. So let's get specific. How does it manage roles and tasks dynamically? The sources mention different agencies.
Right. The plan doesn't just assign a job and leave it. Roles shift based on need and expertise. For instance, you've got the Office of Science and Technology Policy, OSTP, leading on clearing regulatory hurdles for AI innovation.
Okay.
Then the Department of Commerce, through NIST, they're focused on evaluating AI models, bias, security risks, that sort of thing.
Right. Different expertise.
Exactly. And for the workforce side, the Department of Labor and Department of Education work together to adapt training programs for the skills needed in an AI-driven economy. This is pure meta-temporal coordination, assigning tasks based on current needs and competencies, making sure the right players are doing the right things now.
So it's fluid, not fixed. What about how the tasks themselves change over time? That sounds like the task life cycle management idea.
Precisely. The plan breaks down AI development into modules, phases over time. It creates a flow. So pillar one, that's innovation. It's about early stuff. Fostering open source models, setting up regulatory sandboxes. That's like the initiation, the planning phase.
Got it.
Then pillar two second is infrastructure. This is longer term. Building data centers, upgrading the power grid. That aligns more with execution, monitoring.
And the build-out phase.
Yeah. And finally, pillar the third, diplomacy and security. This is about sustained global influence, export controls, alliances. That reflects the review and optimization stages. And you have bodies like the Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer Council, the CAIOCC, whose job is to synchronize these phases, make sure tasks are sequenced properly across the plan's whole timeline.
It really does sound like a system designed to learn and adapt constantly. What about those feedback loops, continuous feedback and adaptation? How does it avoid becoming rigid?
That's absolutely critical, especially in AI, and MTC provides the framework for it. The plan has built-in feedback mechanisms. For example, the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the Commerce Department, they're constantly studying AI's impact on jobs. That data feeds back into shaping workforce policies, so they adapt as the economy shifts. It's not a one-time study. Similarly, the Department of Defense and the intelligence community, they do ongoing assessments of how AI adoption is actually working in practice, and that updates their strategies.
Real-world data driving changes.
Exactly. And NIST evaluating those cutting-edge AI models for national security risks. Those findings go straight back into policy adjustments. These loops are textbook meta-temporal coordination, using past results, retrospective data to inform future plans, prospective planning. It ensures the strategy stays alive and relevant.
Can you give a really concrete example of that feedback loop, maybe with the workforce stuff?
Sure. Imagine a meta AI coordinator, maybe not a literal AI yet, but the function exists. It oversees deploying training programs. It monitors in near real time how those programs affect the job market. It gets feedback from industry about AI adoption trends. Based on all that incoming data, it adjusts the training curricula, maybe focuses on different skills, targets different regions. This ensures the workforce's skills actually keep pace with AI advances. It maintains that alignment over years, prevents the whole effort becoming obsolete before it even gets going.
That really shows the power of it. So zooming on again, why is this level of coordination so vital for something like national AI leadership? What's the big picture takeaway?
Well, it's crucial because these massive multi-year projects involve so many different players, government agencies, industry, academia, even international allies. Without something like MTC, they'd drift apart. Efforts would become siloed, outdated, inefficient. By dynamically assigning roles, structuring tasks in phases, and using these constant feedback loops, the plan maximizes its efficiency, its resilience, its ability to adapt. In a field moving as fast as AI, that adaptability, that coordinated learning, is probably the most critical factor for maintaining leadership.
It's really compelling to see how MTC underpins such a huge national effort. But let's shift gears slightly. Our sources also mention more general, actionable strategies for organizational growth. How do these everyday business strategies connect? Do they benefit from this MTC way of thinking, even implicitly?
Oh, absolutely. Many standard organizational growth strategies inherently contribute to or are made much more powerful by applying a meta-temporal lens, even if they don't use the term. They're often the practical building blocks for maintaining that continuity and adaptability MTC enables. It's not just a fancy term, it's a perspective that reframes these common actions.
Okay, like gather stakeholder input. That seems like a basic feedback loop. How does MTC elevate it?
Right. Seen through an MTC lens, it's not just a one-off survey or consultation. It becomes part of embedding a continuous learning process into the organization. That input becomes data for the knowledge graph we talked about. It directly informs how future tasks might be defined, how roles could shift, maybe even subtly adapting the organization's goals over time. It helps the organization stay genuinely responsive, not just reacting after the fact.
I see. It integrates the feedback into the ongoing memory and planning. What about collaborate with agencies or, different departments within a company?
Yeah, same principle. MTC pushes collaboration beyond just working together now. It encourages thinking about how this collaboration fits into the longer-term picture. It's about optimizing the collective intelligence and resources over time. Ensuring learnings from one collaboration inform the next, it falls right into that dynamic role allocation and managing the task lifecycle across different groups.
Makes sense. And things like support workforce development or upgrade infrastructure, They seem obviously linked, especially after the AI plan discussion.
Definitely vital. They're fundamentally about ensuring the organization has the capability to adapt and execute its strategy in the future. It's managing resources and skills across project phases, anticipating future needs, even something like fund initiatives, allocating budget. Through an MTC lens, that's not just spending. It's enabling the execution phase of strategic tasks, ensuring resources stay aligned with goals that might themselves be evolving.
Okay. And what about creating consistency? Things like develop standards, establish procurement criteria, implement security measures. How do they fit?
They're critical for building that persistent shared memory, the knowledge graph or concordium idea. These actions define the how and solidify the why behind certain decisions. They create the stable framework that allows the organization to adapt and improve without losing its way or reinventing the wheel. They ensure consistency, quality, and security over the long haul, embedding the organizational learning into its actual processes. They're all pieces contributing to that long-term adaptive coherence.
So we've really unpacked meta-temporal coordination. It started sounding pretty abstract, but it turns out to be this really crucial framework for handling complex, evolving work. It's clearly not just for AI experts or national strategy. It's about keeping context, learning, adapting intelligently, using collective knowledge across time, whether that's the US AI plan or just, getting a big project done effectively at work.
Absolutely. And given how fast everything seems to be changing these days in almost every field, maybe the real question for you is, how could applying these principles, thinking about persistent context, dynamic roles, continuous feedback, even in a small way, help your own projects or teams become more resilient, more adaptable, more effective in the long run?
Definitely something to think about. We hope this deep dive has given you some useful insights and maybe sparked a few new ideas.